Most bookkeeping firms regurgitate data. This guest built something way smarter, a full stacked financial back office with real CPAs, baked in tax strategy, and systems that actually protect a business owner's time and profits. He's not selling spreadsheets, he's building infrastructure. Please welcome Dylan Fabbi. Dylan, thank you
Thanks,
so
James.
much for joining the show. I'm so excited for this conversation.
I appreciate it, James. Thank you so much for having me on.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's get right into it, Dylan. We're going to start with a hot take right out of the gate for all the listeners. Let's get into it. So is most bookkeeping just an expensive form of admin work? Because you've built something way more operational, strategic, and honestly threatening to the status quo. So I'd love to hear your take on this question right out of the gate.
Yeah, so just to do a little intro on myself and the firm. So essentially, we are a financial partner for small businesses, right? We handle everything from the basic books to the taxes, tax strategy. Once we help you save that money, we help you and then invest it in the wealth management side. So it's really a full financial picture. Now, we started off obviously just doing bookkeeping, and then we moved on to doing the taxes and tax planning. So I'll tell you just a little bit about operationally how we help people, and to answer your question, how we're, I guess, disturbing, right, the status quo of what bookkeeping actually is. So most people, when they start off their business, I would say accounting is probably the last thing on their mind, right? They're always thinking about this grand idea that they have, or they're thinking about of how much money they're going to make, right? But if they would get a hold of their books and actually know the numbers way earlier on in their business, I would say most people would have a much easier time scaling up. Most people have a much easier time actually being more profitable versus being completely in the blind. So when clients are coming or business owners are starting their business, most of them are running completely blind. They just run based off what's actually in the bank account, right? So if they're cash flow positive, they have money in the bank, great. And as soon as it hits that negative and Chase or whatever bank, notifies you with the negative, they start going crazy. But if they would have had a financial plan or a little bit more of a, accounting from the get-go, they would have been able to foresee what's actually going to happen, and maybe they shouldn't have to hire that extra person, or maybe this one service that they're offering is not profitable, whereas the other one is.
Yeah. I love how much the accounting truly takes the emotion out of running a business. You just let the data drive all, not all decisions, but it certainly helps. And it just makes, I mean, yeah, when you remove the emotion, things just get a lot easier. So I really love what you guys are doing there and how you bring that clarity to your clients. So you came from a big firm, like big firm finance, hedge funds, PE, high net worth clients. What made
Yeah,
you walk away from all that and want to build your own thing?
sure. So my parents actually were their own business owners, and coming home from school every day, you were dropped off at the business, and you would see what they were doing. And if they would have had an accountant or a team like my own team, they probably would have been a lot more financially secure. They probably would have been a lot more successful, probably a lot less stressed out. And that was kind of like the inspiration of me always wanting to do this. So when I was working at Big Four or underneath the Big Four and other accounting firms, and you're dealing with clients that are billions and billions of dollars a year, I wasn't necessarily getting that drive that I wanted. I wanted to be able to help small business owners really make a difference in their lives and their families' lives.
Now, I love that. Wanting, like, being good at the deliverables is one thing. Wanting to start a business, that's another piece, and actually executing on it is, I'd say, the third piece. What has been maybe the biggest surprise for you running your business successfully now? Like, you were obviously really good at what you were doing in the past, working, say, for someone else. Now doing it as a business owner when there's so many more pieces happening, what's been one of the biggest surprises for you?
Yeah. So I would say overall, when it comes to, especially in the accounting industry, this is a service-based business. So it's a lot more obviously client relations and making sure that the clientele are happy. When you're working at the Big Four or you're working for someone else, obviously you care about the actual deliverable itself, but you're not necessarily having that same one-on-one relationship with the client versus when now you're a business owner and you have that relationship with the client. It's not all only about the deliverable because at the end of the day, I would say most accountants could probably produce the exact same thing that we're doing. But what's the difference between us and everyone else? It's going to come down to two things: the communication, right, and how proactive you are. So if the communication is on point and you're not just using email and phone calls like traditional old accountants, and you're maybe a little bit more, you know, techie, so you're having a portal, you're having WhatsApp, you're having Slack, whatever you may have, and as well you're being proactive, you're not just meeting up one time a year, you're meeting maybe 3, 4, 5 times a year to help out with their taxes and their books and their reviews and saving money. That's really what separates, I would say, most accounting, my accounting firm, and I would say successful ones from the ones that are not.
I think that's so true. We just wrapped up a conversation. I believe by the time this one comes out, it'll be the previous week with Michael Lee from Reconcile. And a big part of that conversation was how AI is helping a lot of firms at streamlining a lot of things. But my take again for those listening, AI is never going to replace the relationship aspect of running a firm.
Yeah.
The AI will help in a lot of places, but like you just said, AI is not going to replace how often you physically, you or your team members are meeting with your clients, those touch points that you're sending out that aren't automated, and your clients can actually tell, yeah, this is Dylan and this is his team, and they truly care about what they're sending over.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, I have my own perspective on what I think AI is going to do to the overall industry. But I would say if you're more heavy focused on advisory, then you should be fine. If you're more heavy focused on just volume and easy books, then that's probably going to disturb your business a lot. So
Okay, well, let's hear. I would love to hear your take. Let's dive into that a little bit more. So, if you're not doing as much advisory and you're doing, yeah, the bookkeeping, say payroll, say tax prep, like what's your take on AI and how is it going to impact the industry?
yeah, I mean, so already for ourselves, we're testing out AI for basic books. So clients will come to us and they have maybe 50 to 100 transactions a month, very easy copy paste transactions every single month. McDonald's is McDonald's, Starbucks is Starbucks. Your Apple software is Apple software. Not really much going on in there. So those clients, I would say overall from 3 years ago to now, right? They give me a sec. Sorry, someone's calling me. All right, I think I'll repeat the question.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah. So I would say from the easier clients that are coming in, it's 100% going to disrupt it. So ourselves, we have been developing a product that's going to help at least on the easier back end side of things. There's no reason for why someone should make a mistake on categorizing McDonald's as software when it's always going to be meals, right? So that's something which I think is going to 100% help out. It's going to help out on a lot of like the nitty gritty, a lot of the data entry work. However, when it comes to the relationships that you have, as you mentioned before, and the advice that you have, that's where it's not going to be able to replace. QuickBooks itself was trying to do it already, where they're spitting out numbers, but most clients don't know how to read numbers, and they don't even know what the numbers actually mean to them. So if it says, "Hey, your net profit margin this month are 30%, and last month was 25%," they don't even know what to do with that data. Now, if you're having a financial partner that you could actually rely on, they'll tell you exactly why that happened. Hey, your profit margins went up by 5% because the cost went down, or your sales went up, or whatever it may be, and then you can strategize like that. So I do think that AI is going to come in. It's going to make accounting, at least for basic books, a lot cheaper. But I think the advisory side of things is going to scale up and actually get more expensive because they're going to say, "Hey, we're getting all this information, but we literally have no idea what to do with it."
Yeah, I mean it. Everyone likes that personal and one-to-one communication, right? It's why people hire personal trainers. All the
Yeah,
information's online. No one would have any problem finding a workout plan or finding an app or finding an influencer trainer online to jump and watch their YouTube classes, but they want the accountability and they want to meet
correct.
with someone one to one. And I think in a world where everything is so automated and everything's so AI now, we're going to loop back where everyone wants to like the more old fashioned
Yeah,
to a certain degree. To a certain degree.
they want the tailored solution.
And that comes at a premium price, right? When you're getting someone, you're getting their time one on one. So I think it's great. I think it's great that
Yeah.
the direction the industry is heading in. So with all of that being said, I'm really curious. What's one marketing play that flopped early on for you, and what did it teach you either about marketing or just running your business in general from that side of the business?
Yeah, so going on to marketing, so when I started off the company, it was actually solely based off of referrals. And in the beginning, I had a very, very good network. And obviously, as you grow and grow, you kind of expand that network a little bit. But obviously, your initial network is the people that are going to be relying on you and or giving you referrals. Once you reach a certain point, you have to start now, obviously, marketing. The only way you're going to grow, marketing or purchasing other firms. Those are the two other ways to do it. Each one has their benefits. In terms of the marketing, everyone said Facebook was amazing. We did Facebook, and it was terrible. It was terrible. You would get on, the people would come on, they wouldn't necessarily be exactly tailored to you. Some people were looking for like a $200 accountant, and we're like, hey, we're actually providing advice throughout the year. I don't think you're going to fit our bill. So there's obviously that side of things. Lots of time wasted, lots of money spent. Then we shifted into an accounting firm only marketing that also didn't work. Um, and now obviously we're with you guys. So now we're trying out the Google local service ads. And I happen to probably think this might work more than the other ones. That being said, because with Facebook, right, they could have searched up looking for an accountant and it just keeps on going, going, going. Versus this, they're actively looking currently right now, looking for an accountant. And then specifically with the way that you're designing it, which is that they call, and then if it's qualified, it comes to us, versus the other way around, which is you don't even know if it's qualified, and you're getting on the call anyways. You know?
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I mean, we do know Facebook works. There's just a lot more variables that go into it. So anyone out there who is either running their own Facebook ads, they're working with an agency doing it. There's just a lot that goes into it. It comes down to your headline, the copy, the first couple lines of the copy, what the image looks like, how often is someone seeing that same ad? What is your opt-in form look like? There's just a lot of variables to hopefully get
Right.
in front of the right person who has a need. Where, yeah, like what we're going to be running with you, Dylan, that we're super excited about is someone just jumps on Google and they specifically search for what it is you offer, and you show up instead of a competitor, and that phone call comes in. So we're loving what we're doing with local service ads, and I can't wait for the campaign to get off the ground for you, because I'm excited for you to see what's to come there.
Same
So
here.
Facebook didn't work as well for you in the past. Um, what has worked for you? I mean, you've built a very successful firm. You mentioned you have a strong network. Is there anything outside of referrals and word of mouth that has worked really well for you? Or I'd be curious to hear, like, what has been the success of Fabbi so far?
Yeah. So I would say it's really just come down to the word of mouth and like my strong relationships with let's say other accountants or other CFOs or I actually, when I was working in the Big Four, I got very close to a few of the partners there. And any client that comes their way that's too small for the Big Four, they send my way. So obviously, that was very helpful. Um, but in terms of the marketing itself, I mean, as mentioned, we did Facebook, we did TikTok, we maybe got 10, 15 clients out of that. But I would say the bulk of the remaining, close to 500 clients is word of mouth networking and just making sure that you stand out a little bit from everyone else.
That's cool. So I want to unpack that a little bit more, because you don't strike me as someone who is like, yeah, word of mouth, and then you're not intentional about it at all. Tell me a little bit about the word of mouth or referral strategy, because I get the feeling that you're super intentional about it, and you are like crafting those relationships, like you said, even your past employer, like jumping in and being intentional to ask them, like, hey, if no one fits the bill, keep us top of mind. Because I don't know, I just, there's a lot of firms out there, the first thing they say is, oh yeah, we do word of mouth. Okay, well, are you actually doing anything, or you just hope other people are speaking about you? And I don't get the feeling you just sit back and hope other people are speaking about you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you're sitting back and like crossing your fingers that clients are gonna come, it's not gonna work. In the beginning, it obviously was a lot of work. I thought about every single accountant that I knew, and I said, "This is exactly what I'm building. I'm not gonna be a competitor. I'm gonna be helping you out." Um, and then I said, "If you're interested, or if you have clients, send them our way." They didn't even care about a referral commission. They didn't even care about that. They said, "Listen, you're going to be saving me so much time and you're going to be helping out my clients. I really appreciate what you're trying to do. So it's worth it to send it to you because I know I can rely on you. Um, Now, obviously, when you're trying to get into new people, into new firms, it's a lot more difficult, and you really have to prove your worth. Because why would they work with you over anyone else? So it's more about your track record. It's more about what the type of clients you have, more about the examples that you could show them. Let's say you brought a client from $0 in sales to 10 million in sales in the first 3 years of their business, whatever it may be, showing how clean the financials look, and then depending on what you're doing and depending on what they're doing. If they're just doing the tax, they're doing the books, or vice versa, you're trying to always help each other out.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, yeah, you just need to be intentional. At the end of the day, it's your business. Go out and make some noise and drive stuff in. It's one of, I don't know. I laugh when I speak with a lot of people and they're like, yeah, we do word of mouth. I'm like, but you don't have any clients and no one knows you exist. So like,
Yeah,
who's speaking
exactly.
about your business?
Who are you
That's
speaking to?
not
Yeah,
that's not a marketing strategy.
yeah.
Um,
So
so
for
tell
most
me,
accountants, I would say like obviously there's a lot of these accounting networking events. I would say stay far away from those because you're not really going to get much benefit out of that. A lot of the clients or a lot of the relationships I have are actually like course creators. Um, so let's say one of my, like the first few clients I picked up, they end up making courses, and you kind of become like their number one CPA or their number one bookkeeper or their number one financial advisor, whatever it may be, and then all their clients come to you. So that's a very good way to do things. And then number two, I felt was, make sure you have like a very good lawyer, a very good insurance guy, a very good financial advisor, and then you send to them, they send to you, and then that way everyone's happy.
yeah,
So
the going lateral in your industry and like you said, finding say the one ideal client and then all of their clients like you're the go-to person. I think that's an amazing strategy. But I want to hear from you. What's the biggest lie accounting firm owners still believe about scaling?
that's a tough question. Um, so I think now the what it's coming down to is volume, volume over clientele, quality of clients. In the past, it's always been, oh, once I reach 1,000 clients, 1,500 clients, 2,000 clients, then I'll be successful. Nowadays, it's not like that because we're not, as mentioned, the accounting industry is changing. It's becoming a lot more proactive versus reactive. And I think as long as you're delivering a good product and you can now upsell on the advice side of things. And now instead of your clients only paying, let's say, two, three, 4,000 a year, you're selling it for 12. You don't need to have 1,000 clients anymore. All you have to have is 500 very good clients. Or if your ticket is a little bit higher than that, then instead of having 500 clients, all you have to have is 100 clients. So I think
Yeah.
that's another thing about scaling. Most people think it's about the volume, but it's definitely now coming to a time when it's not necessarily about the volume anymore. It's going to be about expanding in terms of the services that you're offering and then upselling them on that.
I like that. What's something you do on purpose that most firms avoid, but your clients love that you provide to them?
WhatsApp group chats. I think that's the number one amazing thing. Everyone's on their phone. WhatsApp's great. Slack I find too confusing. It is a lot of work from our end because we have to get specific numbers and then connect it and then get everyone on the group chat. But I would say that's for sure the number one game changer. Client has a quick question, they send us a text, and within 5 to 10 minutes, someone's responding to them, versus the traditional email or these cool new portals that people have or Slack where everything gets lost. I think WhatsApp is very direct. Um, that's for sure number one.
There's a CFO in a pocket.
Exactly. That's number one. And then number two is, as mentioned, we're not just doing basic books and taxes, right? We are the number one financial partner for them. We actually really believe in our clients. So when clients come to us, it's not just, oh, let me just take your money and do your accounting. Like we actually believe in what they're trying to accomplish, and we help them get to the next level. So whether it's we're helping them with the books and advisory, the taxes, saving taxes, and then we started offering different services, as mentioned, financial advisory, to now helping them invest their money into mutual funds, retirement plans, pension plans, whatever it may be. And specifically for our real estate clients, we started doing cost segregation studies. So we're essentially doing all these different services in for these clients so that they don't have to go look other places. So for them to know, hey, let me just call Dylan and team to go ahead and do X, Y, and Z for me. It's much easier than, hey, let me call Dylan for X, that guy for Y, and the other guy for Z. It's a lot more complicated, and they rather would just have everything in one place.
Now, when it comes to the WhatsApp group, I'm sure there's listeners thinking like, where do you put boundaries on that? How do you scale that? Like, I know for me, if I was to do that, I'd almost feel obligated. Like the second something comes in, I got to respond right away. And then is that what clients get used to? And then that's just the expectation. Like, oh, it's been 3 hours and
Yeah,
they haven't responded. When in reality, if it was an email, you almost expect to not hear back for like a day or two. But now,
yeah.
because you guys have been so quick on WhatsApp, like, has that ever come back to bite you?
Yes, good question. So in the beginning, when we sign up a client, we tell them the time expectations for us to respond. So we said when it's busy season, typically between 3 and 6 hours, and then if it's regular flow season, anywhere between 1 to 3 hours. Obviously, it's going to be sooner, right? But just in case everyone's busy or there's meetings or whatever it may be, we want to just have that expectation there. Now, there are times where we go ahead and we're responding back within 5, 10 minutes, and then let's say a month later, we'll respond back 3 hours later and we'll get a question mark. So 100% that is there, right? Because the expectations of, oh, they're fast, they're good, responding back to me. It's like, as you mentioned, financial advisor in my pocket. With that being said, right, we also have to focus on what we're trying to accomplish and making sure that we're reaching our deadlines. So specifically around deadline season as well, it's going to be a little bit slower, but that's not. But I still think that's more preferable than responding back to an email 2 days later.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then I'm guessing not every single client. You guys have a ton of clients. I'm guessing not everyone's on that. Like that must be like higher ticket,
Yeah, yeah.
more
So it's
advisory,
more
not the tax
correct.
prep.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. So basic tax prep is not on there. It's going to be typically whoever's our higher ticket, books, CFO, and taxes. That's all going to be on there. So I mean, so roughly right now, it's roughly around 200 clients on that, and then the remaining, we'll say 300, are our portal where they get a response back in a day.
That's crazy. You guys are on top of the ball with communication. Then I mean, even 200 group chats of different
Yeah,
clients.
yeah, it's definitely a lot, but it's very easily designed. You have I'm on personally on each and every single one of them, and then the tax director and then the financial director are on each of them as well. And then depending on who the staff and the seniors are, that's how we allocate it. So everyone knows their role, everyone knows what they're supposed to do, everyone knows who's supposed to respond, and then internally we have our own tracking system as well. So
I mean, that's white glove service as far as communication goes. Where you hear of so many other firms, they're like the biggest bottleneck or pain I hear from so many other, I guess, end business owners is they never hear from their financial team. They never hear from their bookkeeper. They never hear from their accountant. You guys are like, well, that's cool. Just text us. We don't care, and we'll get
yeah,
back to you within like a couple hours. Where I mean, I've even been victim in the past where, I mean, not victim, I hate that term, but send a message over and like you just know you're getting billed for like that, even those text messages coming back and forth for the time. And it's like, okay, we're
yeah,
anyways, I
yeah.
won't
So we're very anti hourly billing.
yeah.
We're 100% subscription based.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. So what's one system inside Fabbi that saves your team the most time or drives the most profit?
Okay, I like that question. So we have I mean, honestly, I don't even know how I figured it out, but I coded actually this whole thing
Okay.
that it basically tracks the efficiency levels of all of the staff and all the managers, and as well as the deliverables of the product. So it's basically like at the 3 times, 4 times a day, it sends out email and team reminders to everyone. So let's say a staff supposed to be working on 20 clients every day. At 12 o'clock, I'll say, hey, you worked on 5 clients. Good job. You're on target. So I think like the positive reinforcement of saying, hey, good job, guys. You're doing a good job. You're almost at your target, and kind of reminding them throughout the day gets them to feeling one, appreciated, and two, it gets them to the point of like, okay, I know I have to reach my deadline. Versus if it was, you just expect them to do 20 clients a day, and then at the end of the day, you're like, hey, well, how come you only did 5 clients? Then you have to start looking in and figuring it out. So in terms of this like thing I developed, it's one, as mentioned, for the positive reinforcement side of things, it's making them feel appreciated. And then number three, it's making sure that we're getting to the deadlines and obviously increasing efficiency.
That's really cool. Have you ever thought about selling this as a software? I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people listening here like, I would love to have that in
Yeah,
my
I'd love
firm.
that. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll change. Maybe I'll become my own client for my accounting firm.
All right. Well, everyone stay tuned. There may be a new software for the accounting space coming on the market.
Yeah.
You talk about saving clients, roughly 12 and a half hours a month, sometimes 25 plus K in taxes.
Yep.
What's a case study that you love to share that proves your model works?
Yeah. So we have a lot of clients that come in that are either high W-2s. Let's say they're working in the city, New York City. We're based in the tri-state area. Let's say successful lawyers, surgeons making $2, $3, $4 million a year in W-2, and they're paying roughly 50% based in the city in taxes. That's a hard hit. If you're making $4 million and all of a sudden you left in your pocket 2 million, and now with Mamdani who just won, it's probably gonna be a little bit higher. That's a hard hit. So essentially, what we do is we have a few different strategies that we'd like to implement. A lot of them are very common. Obviously, we can get a little bit more detailed for ones that need it. But let's say the short-term rental loophole strategy. I'm not sure if people know about it, but most of the time when clients are in real estate or they invest in real estate, they're not able to take really a lot of those losses at all. Actually, you can't wipe off active income with passive income. If you do short-term rental loophole, the IRS actually views that as an active strategy, and therefore you're actually able to go ahead and wipe out your actual active income. So we do this strategy. You obviously have to reinvest, but the way I look at it is I'd rather invest in owning a property than giving away the IRS my money.
Yeah.
So it's not for free, but instead of me giving $2 million away to the IRS, I'm going to own $2 million worth of assets.
Okay.
And you
Interesting. That's cool.
basically wipe, yeah. So in that scenario, you're actually wiping out roughly, if you do that exact strategy, you'd be wiping out roughly $2 million in taxes for that one client. But on average, I would say most people don't have $2 million to invest. So the other strategies that we're able to implement for them is roughly going to save them, 25 to 50K. But that's if they're smaller ticket, clients. They're making 100, 200, $300,000 a year. That's where you're going to be saving that money. Obviously, the larger the client is, the more money you can save them.
Yeah, and it's all relative as well, right? If you're making 300K a year, still saving 25K or more or less, you're giving your client 25K because it was
Correct.
going elsewhere. So
Correct.
it's all relative, and I that's cool. And again, it just comes down to the way that's also because a lot of people they're always asking us like, how do you sell a tax plan? How do you sell accounting? Well, it's just how you frame it, and rather than hey, you're not like we're gonna save you 25K in taxes, they feel like it's already lost, but and we're gonna give you back money that otherwise the IRS
Would
was
have been less.
taking.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's really cool. What's one of the things, Dylan, running a firm that keeps you up at night?
Um, Obviously, as mentioned, this is a service-based business. So I personally have a very hard time with this when clients complain. Listen, it happens. It happens. So let's say we'll do a tax projection for a client. We'll say, hey, we're gonna save you, let's say 50K, and ends up being that we only save them 45, whatever it may be, because the final numbers changed.
Mhm.
So that does happen. And it definitely keeps you up at night. I like to make sure that the clients are being serviced 100%, and everyone's always happy. But I have to learn that this is business, and things happen where you're not always going to be 100% able to deliver on exactly what you wanted. It might be you deliver a little bit less, but they're still getting a very good product.
Yeah, interesting. That's cool. What's your day to day look like now, compared to a year ago?
Yeah. Um, so as you scale, obviously you have to hire more people, and then the goal of every owner should be to take a step back and deal with, I would say, essentially operations, business development, scaling the business, and then potentially other things that they're interested in doing. So that's like a year ago. I was heavily involved. Every single day, I was going through like a list of all the clients. I was dealing with my team. I was speaking to clients. I was doing all these things, and it was a very, very busy day. It was like 12-hour days, and since then I hired a few directors, so they're essentially one's tax, one's financial. We now have all the managers, all the seniors, all the staff. So now everything is kind of where it needs to be. I essentially deal every day with ops and business development. Business development, as I mentioned, could be either through the marketing strategies, could be through getting more clients, it could be through potential purchases of new firms. So it's essentially that's my day to day every day. Obviously, I have to make sure everyone's happy, and then the bigger ticket clients, speak to them, make sure everything's good, give them some projections. I still, hold their hand because I feel a little bit, allegiant to them. So let's say some of them are my first clients, so I still want to go ahead and speak to them and make sure everything is all good and take them out. But overall, day to day, it's still very busy. I'm still working, a lot of hours, but not 12 hours a day.
Yeah, awesome. It's very impressive. It's really cool to hear. Getting to a couple of the final questions here for you, Dylan. What's the next big evolution for Fabbi? More services, deeper advisory, hiring differently, tech stacks, upgrades. What's on the horizon?
Yeah. So as mentioned, we have a lot of clients, and the number one thing I would say for small business owners is they really heavily rely on their accountant, and that comes for investments, not just regular investments as mentioned, the mutual funds or retirement, whatever it may be, but actual investments. So we have lots of clients are now actively asking us, "Hey, would you invest in this, or is this a good deal?" So the next thing which I would like to do is have like another company called like Fabbi Capital Advisors, something along those lines, where we essentially create the deals for the clients and we raise the capital for that deal. So that's
I
going to
like
be
that.
so it's going to be either in real estate or venture capital, or let's say this software idea that I have, I could get, let's say 10, 20 clients, each give some capital towards that. And now they're a small equity partner in a new venture. So that's something that's just going to come along the lines. Yeah.
That's really cool. So last question for you then, Dylan. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Okay. This I have to think about. I mean, I don't know if it's advice, but it's maybe just simply from my wife, just telling me like, you're human. People make mistakes, and you can't be in a million places at once. So I would say from a business perspective, that's 100% true as well. You can't be focusing on a million things. You'd be focusing on one or two things that you really want to be working on currently, making sure that that's the best deliverable product that you could possibly make it, and then from there scale up to creating more or newer things. Because obviously in the beginning everything's very exciting. So I have clients who all the time and actually end up not being my clients anymore because they go bankrupt. But they focus on one thing and then they focus on another thing, and until they develop a good product on company A, they're already focusing on B, C, and D and E, and it's not going to work. It's not efficient, and you have to first build out a very good product for product A. Make sure that if you're hiring someone, someone's actually running the show well over there, and then move on to B, C, D, and E accordingly. So that's what I would say. Don't try to jump before you actually have a very good product. Number one, and number two is it's okay. You're human. Like people do make mistakes, and I think you do learn from the mistakes to eventually make a good product for your business or yourself or working on yourself or just being a better person. So
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Your wife sounds like a very wise woman.
very, very
but
wise. Yeah,
but also just give yourself some grace, right? That's what I'm hearing from that. Like you're human, you're gonna make mistakes. There's only so much you can do. Like I think sometimes people are just very hard on themselves, myself included. So I like that message that you just shared.
I appreciate that.
Dylan,
Yeah,
thank you so much for coming on, sharing so much valuable insight. You're absolutely crushing it. It's so cool to see how you're building your firm. I'm so excited for what's to come, working with you over the next handful of months and beyond. It's really cool to see, and it's very inspiring, especially being around similar ages. It's cool to see what you're building on your side, and I'm rooting from you. I'm rooting for you from over here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, you're not too far away. We could definitely go out. Yeah.
Absolutely,
We
absolutely.
could we
Dylan,
could
thank
root
you so
together,
much. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate it.
All right, James, have a happy holidays, and thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of CFO Chronicles, the secrets behind success. I hope you found value in today's conversation. As we wrap up, I'd love for you to do two things. First, make sure to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any future episodes. If you enjoyed today's discussion, please rate and review the show. It helps others discover the insights we share here. Second, if you're ready to take your business to the next level and attract the high-end clients you deserve, head over to accountingleadsnow.com or click the link in the show notes to book your strategy call. It's time to position yourself as the advisor your clients need. And don't forget, you can connect with me on LinkedIn to stay up to date on what's happening in the world of accounting and financial growth. We've got exciting topics coming up, so stay tuned for the next episode of CFO Chronicles. Until then, keep pushing forward. Your growth is just one strategic move away.
Thanks for listening to CFO Chronicles, the secrets behind success. We hope today's episode provided valuable strategies to help you attract more high-paying clients. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share with fellow professionals. Connect with us on LinkedIn and leave a review or comment to join the conversation. Your feedback helps us bring you the best insights in finance and marketing. Until next time, keep striving for success and unlocking your business's potential.